Hey, what's up, guys? It's your boy Charles here, and in today's interview, I have Graham Grieve. Graham, welcome to the show.
Hi Charles, thanks for having me.
All good, Graham, all good. Yeah, no, I appreciate you coming on. So today, guys, we're going to. Graham actually runs an SEO agency up in Scotland, as you can tell by his accent. And we're going to be talking all things SEO, talking about how he got started with his SEO agency, and really delving into some sort of SEO strategies and tactics. So I'm really excited to go through that. Graham, could you just give us a little bit of an intro, my friend, about yourself, how you got started with your SEO agency, and your kind of entrepreneurial journey?
Okie dokie, so hi, my name's Graham. I'm going to try and keep my journey into SEO as brief as possible because I could go on for hours. But the sort of long story short was like many people. I was in college studying marketing, and like many people when I was in college, I couldn't get any experience. So me and a handful of friends just decided, right, we'll start something up ourselves. And what that ended up looking like, we were helping bands, artists, and charities out with their marketing for free. Now, when I say their marketing, like we were just like looking after social media channels and designing like leaflets and stuff like that. It wasn't anything sort of cool. But learned a lot, and learned a lot about how not to do things in marketing. We ended up doing a bit of work with a digital company, so we were doing like managing Facebook. We were doing some event promotion stuff, and I remember speaking to this digital agency, and I remember them saying, "Oh, we're doing this SEO stuff and Google Ads and whatnot," and they were telling me the clients they were working with and the results and the revenue that they were driving for their clients, and I was just like, wow, this is amazing. I want in, and at the same time, an internship came up at a different digital agency, so I ended up going for that and getting it. And back at a time when SEO was the sort of really unsexy thing that you gave over to the intern.
Yeah.
That was my job, submitting websites to directories, adding title tags and meta descriptions, all that good stuff. I did that, and the internship there was only meant to sort of 2 weeks. Ended up working there for about a year and a half, and was managing a lot of the SEO there, and there was nobody. The owners of the business came from a web design background and a sort of marketing, like more generalist marketing background. So 2014, there was a lot of changes to the way people actually optimize websites. A lot of the spam stuff that a lot of people used to do, I wouldn't say wasn't working, but wasn't working as well. And I know a lot of people that were sort of exiting SEO at that point. So it was a really good time for me to come into the industry and start learning quite a lot of stuff. From there, started building up my own freelance clients. I actually went in-house with one of my freelance clients, big online meat retailer, took them up to their first £1 million turnover year. I then went to another digital agency. I'll wrap this up. Then went to a procurement company and headed up their search team. And all the while, I was building up wee bits of sort of recurring work here and there. And then sort of January, February 2020, I was like, right, I've got a nice wee portfolio of clients. Maybe I could try going out on my own. And then COVID hit, and I decided to stay in my job during COVID. But in the evenings, like I was working, sort of closing my work laptop, and opening my personal computer and working from like five o'clock to sort of 2, 3 in the morning, building this up. And so after about 6 months, I had enough sort of revenue. I mean, I had enough revenue from when I decided from sort of before COVID. But yeah, from about November, it came to a point where I was turning away like big clients because I still had a day job. Anyone that knows me knows I'm quite risk averse. I like being is kind of the a bit of a contradiction from I know a lot of people in the digital space that will just take on risk really quite quickly. For me, like I had to build my agency until I was at the stage of, I mean, I could have been paying sort of 4 or 5 salaries at the point that I actually left full-time employment. And I think everyone in the digital world, COVID's affected a lot of offline businesses, and it's really quite sad. But I mean, for digital people, I think a lot of businesses have done really well. For me, certainly, we've done quite well over the last sort of 2 years. But big part of that is we're good at what we do and we get the results. But another kind of part of that is I started this, or I started going quite heavy with this right at the perfect time, right when people were pivoting a lot of their lifestyles and were moving from the offline world into the online world, and we've definitely massively benefited. I would say again, one, from actually being good at what we do, but two, from being sort of in the right place at the right time. And yeah, since starting the business, Charles, you've seen some of the sort of SOPs we do. I'm very big on sort of processing out big chunks of the day-to-day SEO workflow, and I think we've been quite successful in that. And I mean, that allows me to, on a Thursday afternoon, come on and chat with people like you, Charles. So it's pretty good place to be. But yeah, that's my story in a nutshell.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're to give sort of my audience a bit of a context. Me and Graham, we're in a kind of a monthly Facebook. I call it a kind of an accountability group that our mutual friend Jimmy set up. And yeah, seeing your progress, Graham, has been very quick in terms of how you've been able to sort of scale your agency. And it seems like you've got some really good systems and processes in place. And I like what you said about, I think some people, and I made the mistake, whereas I kind of just quit my job. I didn't really I had some income coming in from some investments, but I think it's a smart move to kind of grow your business on the side while you're working full time. And yes, you're going to have to put the hours in, and it's going to be, tiring and exhausting at the start because you've effectively got, a business and you've got a full-time job, but it just gives you that security. And if you are a little bit risk adverse, that's certainly something that I'd always advise. So I like how you were able to pivot there.
I mean, I would definitely sort of caveat that by saying, I think you have the people that are not risk averse that will just get a client and leave their day job on the sort of one end of it. But for me, like, I realistically had enough revenue coming through the freelance stuff to have gone down that route. Sort of February 2020, I pushed it off until November 2020. 8 months, 9 months. So I think you've maybe got one end of the scales, the people that will get a couple of clients and leave, not test the water. And then on the other scale, you've got me, who's just kind of a wee bit over the top with that. I definitely think the happy medium sits somewhere in the middle there.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. I mean, there comes a time where you have to take the plunge, and you have to go all in. And I think, yeah, there's probably, like you said, there's probably a happy medium somewhere in the middle there. Once you get a couple of clients and they're paying decent money, um, then yeah, you really want to be focusing on one thing.
Yeah.
I knew for me personally, I just didn't feel like I had the energy or the productivity when I've done my day job, I've come back, and now I'm having to sit there and work and hustle until 11, 12 at night, not go to bed till 2 in the morning, and then you're tired, there's lack of sleep. So yeah, it really depends on the individual, I think, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for me, I'd worked in house for maybe 6, 7 years, and I remember the motivation for me, like when I was to get to do sort of five in the morning till, sorry, five in the afternoon, 5 p.m. till like 2 in the morning, was I think it's kind of, you work in house and you definitely have, I mean, you've got that sort of wage ceiling, but for me, I just remember like we started landing clients and I was like, oh my God, these people are actually paying me. And for me, that was like the motivation, but it's definitely not sustainable doing a sort of full time job and trying to really sort of scale up an agency. Don't get me wrong, I did the freelance stuff for years and years and years, but yeah, being able to actually go out on my own, it really sort of lifted that ceiling on me. Also allowed me to sort of hire people and be a lot more sort of smarter with my time. But yeah, I don't miss working till 2 a.m. I'm quite a lucky business owner where sort of see 5 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock some nights, I'll shut down the computer and that's me. And I mean, that's me now. Don't get me wrong. I had a wee bit of, I think everyone goes through this sort of starting out where I was still trying to work. Like I was used to working like a full time job and then a second job, and I was used to that. It took me quite a while to adjust to like just okay, 5 o'clock. It's fine. The client's work's all getting done. You've got staff members managing that. You don't need to worry about that. It's all under control. You can finish at 5. That's cool. But yeah, sorry, I'm going off on a tangent
No, it's
here.
good. It's good stuff. I actually went through the same experience where I remember when I was starting out, and I don't think I was actually overly productive. I think it was just busy hours. I was thinking I needed to be at my
Yeah,
desk until like 10, 11 at night, and that kind of hustle mode. And the reality is, I didn't really need to do that. And when I stopped doing that, I kind of was in this weird sense of, or a weird kind of anxiety period where I'm like, I should be doing something. When the reality is, most people go into business to be able to then, fund a more improved lifestyle. It shouldn't just
yeah.
be like building a business to work in your business. You should be building the business to actually own the business and remove yourself from the day-to-day operations.
Yeah, it's definitely something. I mean, for the first maybe sort of 6 months, I 100% like built myself a prison with a business. I think a lot of people do that. I was really really lucky where a friend of mine in the space basically sat me down and was like, Graham, what are you doing? Why are you working like all these hours? Just hire someone, and they can manage like that for you. And yeah, that's worked out. That's worked out really really well for me. But yeah, it was definitely a sort of period I did have to go through.
Yeah, no, I think you kind of have to decide, and I would say you can decide it from day one. Do you want to be a business owner or do you want to be a freelancer? Because at the start, yes, you might have to be a freelancer, but if you set the intention that you actually want to be a business owner, then you can think like more like a business owner. Not all the revenue you're bringing in is going to go into your pocket. You need to think about, starving cost moving forward. any marketing costs to scale the business in terms of clients. So yeah, I think we all make that mistake, Graham, to be fair. I certainly made that mistake. I was kind of a freelancer for way too long.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to make that transition if you do plan to do that. Let's delve in, Graham, to a little bit. One of the things that I wanted to ask you was, what do you find the biggest mistakes companies make when it comes to their SEO? And feel free to go off in any direction you want with this question.
Biggest mistake, and I get this. There might be people when I say this, you are gonna have people sitting there thinking, well, he's an agency owner, he's 100% going to say that. But biggest mistake I see companies making is trying to get the cost of SEO down. Like most SEO companies, they'll work on a sort of hourly rate. We do, and my quotes when I'm giving it to a company, it's going to be based on, look, me as a professional, we're transparent with all our costs and all that. When we're putting out a proposal, I'm literally saying to a company, like, look, this is what you need to do to rank for X, Y, and Z. And a lot of the time we get people coming back and they're saying, oh, we thought we'd be able to rank to get SEO for, I don't know, £300, £500. And I mean, yeah, I'm probably going to be coming across as quite biased, but you take your average agency, they're maybe at £100 an hour. Let's go on the sort of lower end, let's say they're £50 an hour. For £500, you're going to be getting 10 hours a month of that agency's time. Let's say an hour is taken into reporting. Then what does that leave? 9 hours for technical content and link building. What's that going to look like? Yeah. For my agency, 9 hours, we'll maybe be able to write a couple of articles, build a link, maybe 2 links. We're not even going to be able to look at your technical for that. Is a couple of articles and a link going to move the needle? Do you know what? In some hyper niche local business, maybe. Yeah. And the flip side of that is that I sometimes speak to people and they say, no, but we're different, our niche is this. And I'm like, yeah, okay, but the keywords are still the same. Like, you're not going to be able to rank for, I don't know, leather wallet. My wallet's empty, by the way. You're not going to be able to rank for like leather wallet on a £500 budget when you look at your competitors. They've got 400 high quality links sitting there. They've got full topical relevancy. Like, you're going to have to actually be realistic. And I mean, myself, I'm kind of at a stage where revenue wise, we like winning new business, but we're not at that kind of early on. I was quite lucky because I was so sort of risk adverse, but we've never been at that stage where we have to get the business in at all costs. If someone comes back to me on price, I will turn around to them and say, like, look, we are an hourly rate, but if that is your budget, this is what you are going to get. And I think if your budget, let's say for sort of e-commerce, for example, I think if your budget is sort of less than £2,000 a month, you maybe get away with £15,000 a month. In my experience, for the majority of websites out there, like, you're not going to get much back from SEO. Like a full SEO campaign at that price point, you might be better off looking at other sort of avenues. Don't get me wrong, there's some sites that you can do sort of good e-commerce SEO at that level, but realistically, I mean, I'm saying to most of the leads we get, like, look, SEO is expensive. Here's how much I reckon you need to spend, and if it's going to be too expensive for you, cool, we're not the agency for you, but be careful because there are other guys out there who are just going to absolutely bite your hand off to get you in for 6 months, and you might not get the results you want. So a lot of the time I speak to companies and we're maybe auditing the sites and the SEO works good, but you can just tell that the client hasn't put the money into it, and that's why the needle's not moving. Where the clients always make the mistakes, I think clients just see SEO as something, a wee box they need to tick. Get it, it's a commodity. Get it from the cheapest person possible. If that's you, I can recommend someone on Fiverr who'll do your SEO for $15 a month. I'm joking, by the way. Do not go on to Fiverr and get your SEO done for $15 a month. But with SEO, you genuinely get what you pay for. The sort of
I mean, Graham, just to I think, just while we're on this subject, I think, who I blame for this? I blame the SEO industry in itself, because, the clients are not, the clients come with this expectation that SEO is cheap because they see these ridiculously cheap prices online. And you're right. I think the reality is, when you explain to the client, look, this is the work involved. There's different aspects to SEO. There's different things that you need to do, and it takes time and work. They then start to realize, oh, okay, this is not just a cheap thing that we need to, buy on some sort of subscription, like a cheap £200 a month to get your SEO done. It's marketing at the end of the day.
What we always do when we are putting together a quote is we look at the search volumes and do a bit of, you'll know yourself, SEO forecasting can be quite difficult, but the question we are always asking is, are we confident as an agency that if this client pays us what we reckon the work package is going to look like, are we confident that we can times 10 the return on investment? Now, I think for clients that's probably quite important to remember, that like, if you are spending like £300 on your SEO a month, like, you're not going to get like 5, 6, 7 grand a month in leads. Like, if you're looking to get, I've literally spoken to people and they're like, yeah, one of our competitors turned over 15 million last year. We want to be where they are in like the next sort of 6 months. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. What's your budget going to be for this? And I'm like, yeah, well, the last guy we were working with was charging us 150, but I've got sign off for like 200 a month. And I'm like, 15, you're wanting to take this to 15 million. Like, what even is that? Like 15.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You're wanting to turn over £1.25 million. Like, you're not going to get that it's going to be difficult to get that on a website that's starting pretty low down to begin with, but you're not going to get that for £200. You're going to be spending like a lot of money to get that. And yeah, I think for clients, there's a lot of yes men. To be honest, I'm seeing a lot of people in the SEO industry kind of turning away for these sort of cheaper SEO packages. But I think historically the SEO industry has just been an industry of sort of yes men, like, yeah, cool, come in 6 months, cool. Sorry we couldn't get you the results, out the door you go. For me, like, as an agency, I can count on one hand the amount of clients we've lost in 7 years. And it's because we're realistic in what we're quoting for. With our SEO packages, we do take, I won't go too much into the way we are set up, but in month one, we're maybe billing the client for like 40 hours, 50 hours a month, but my team are maybe doing like 150 hours in month one for onboarding. there's some illogical business practice in there from my point of view. But for me, it means that, see, if we're churning through clients, I don't make any money on it. So but there is genuinely, I mean, I think, I know, but there is genuinely an SEO business model that is get them in at the low price, get them in for 6 months, and get them out the other door. They won't have really got anything for it. And I think as clients, you need to be realistic with your budget, or else, look, you can get good leads from Google Ads up front. You can get good leads from Facebook. SEO is a bit of a sort of buzzword at the moment, and a lot of people are wanting to jump into it. But the costs in actually ranking a website, it's quite expensive. Now, don't get me wrong. Agencies like mine I'm sitting here saying we're looking to 10 times the revenue, the fee that our clients are paying for our services. Like, that's a no-brainer. But if your targets for what you want for SEO are up here, but your budget's like way down here, put the money somewhere else. Because what's going to happen is you're going to find someone that will take that money off you at that point, and you're just going to end up wasting your money. What I will caveat that with, the sort of outlier here is they're very, 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 very few and far between, but you do get freelance guys that know what they're talking about, that don't, I probably shouldn't be promoting this, it's like almost like exploitation, but for example, I've got a couple of clients that got me on board before I really started to scale this, and they're maybe paying us sort of £500-600, £800 a month for a service that we're now billing out at 2.5, 3, 4 grand. You can find freelancers that have the experience and they're starting out on themselves, and that's the only real place that you can get cheap SEO that's going to move the needle, is if you're targeting guys that just don't know how to price or how to value the SEO services. And I'm terrible at the sort of legacy. I don't like calling them legacy, but I'm terrible at trying to up people's retainers. I just don't do it. If you're on with me, cool, that's your price, you're locked in at that price, and you're going to be grandfathered in at that cost. But it allows me to say things like, the first ever freelance client that I ever worked with, they're still a client with us 5-6 years later, which for me, that's worth maybe not making any money off that account. But yeah, where do the clients trip themselves up? Not allocating the right amount of budget for SEO. But again, take that with a pinch of salt. I'm an agency owner. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I think, like you said, it comes down to a lack of understanding of how much is involved in SEO. It comes down to us as a SEO industry as a whole. There's lots, like you said, a lot of companies offering cheap services, and typically, honestly, what most of these agencies do is they just outsource it to somewhere like India. And typically these types of countries are using very outdated tactics, and again are very much yes men. Yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that. They don't really deliver the results. So it's a difficult one. I mean, you mentioned also about like you can find those good freelancers that are on the way up to help your business. Yep. I guess the problem with that is most people that aren't from an SEO background can't distinguish the difference between a good SEO freelancer, and a bad one. So they don't really know how to, like me and you, because we're from an SEO background, we can very quickly tell who is going to be a good freelancer and a bad one based on, some of the evidence that they provide us, or we give them a certain task and they get the job done and we know, okay, this is good, this is bad. But probably for the average agency owner, the average company owner, they have no clue which is good or which is bad, I think. So it's a difficult one. It really is for companies. I think they just need to do their due diligence, and they need to know what's involved in a solid SEO campaign and the cost associated to that.
No, absolutely, absolutely.
So I guess if we delve into that, Graham, like just to give company owners or even like marketing managers out there some guidance, what would you say are the key elements involved in a solid SEO strategy? What goes into a good SEO strategy in your opinion?
Two things: links and content. Very, very oversimple, but I mean, don't get me wrong. There's a sort of next level down, but if you can write good content, if you can amplify that content and make Google trust that content, you're on to a winner. Technical SEO, I'd say it's important, but not really strategic. Like we can come in and on the technical front, we just blast it in month 1, month 2. There's some things in the technical front that do move the needle. We were working on a big website recently. It was built in .NET, and the server-side optimization hadn't been done, and essentially Google could not read that website. And I mean, allowing Google to read that website was a needle mover for that website. But examples like that are quite rare. I think the SEO industry, there's too many people talking about technical SEO because it's something that you can go in and audit and it's there. When you're reporting to a client, like we fixed like 60 different technical deliverables, it looks really, really good. There's a lot of value there, but then on the same front, like we could turn around and say, look, we've published like 4 really, 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 really good pieces of content, and then we've won like 8 links. When you're sending that over in a report, that's like 60 deliverables in the technical front versus 12 deliverables on the content and link front. One looks really, really good for the client, the other one doesn't. One really, really, really moves the needle, and the other one doesn't. But I think too many people talk about this technical SEO aspect, and not enough people talk about what I don't really want to sit here and say what SEO boils down to, because my opinion is obviously different from everyone else. But at the end of the day, for me, and what works for me, it's nothing too fancy. It's just, can we write good content that matches all the entities that Google's looking for? Can we structure that content and the sort of content around that? Can we structure that properly? And can we get links to that content? If you've got content and links right, providing there's nothing glaringly wrong with your website from a technical front, like you're going to stand the best possible chance of ranking.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more, Graham. I think the kind of SEOs try and overcomplicate the the process. Those two things, content and links, are the two things that move the needle. I think the other things lay the right foundation. As you said, if Google can't crawl your website, then that's a big issue. You could have the best content and links in the world, but if they can't crawl your website, you're not going to rank. So they are important, but you're right in the respect that, in my experience, and I'm sure in yours, content and links are those two big pillars that are going to make the biggest difference. And that's where, for those listening in, that's where the cost is.
100%.
Those are the two things that are the most time intensive and take the most work.
That's why, I mean, when we are quoting for work, like we're maybe saying to like e-commerce store, like, look, we're going to need 80 hours a month to optimize your website, and they've got a proposal there sitting there saying we'll do it for 15 months, and it just comes back to that, like, see building links. Like, we have to send like 20, 30 emails to land one link. If you're looking at guest posts, like 1,000 words of content, that's going to take someone like 2-3 hours just to write the content for a link that's maybe taking you another 3-4 hours to actually do all the outreach to try and get a placement. So all these things take time. I mean, content, like, I like to think I've got my content processes pretty well. When I say me, I've actually got a content manager, Ashlyn. She's absolutely brilliant. The two of us have got a really, really good content process that allows us to just get writers in, right? They know exactly what they're doing, and we're optimizing everything through Surfer. We're clustering the keywords properly, using our own process, and it just works. We're able to push out content, but the one thing that we can't really control, and trust me, I've tried Jarvis. I wouldn't say anything on that, but we've tried the sort of AI copywriters, and it didn't really work for us. The one thing that we cannot control is writers are going to write a certain level of words per hour. You need to research the content. We can use phrase and other tools and speed that up. But in terms of bums sitting on seat writing content, like, that is a big. The actual hours required to start pumping out content, it's frightening. Laying the good foundations, right, from a technical point of view, I think that's good, but structuring your website, incredibly important. I've actually got one of my affiliate websites, I'm looking at it and I'm like, we've messed up the structure here. We're going to have to completely redo the structure. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. But we're going to have to. And that comes down from me when I was launching that website. I wanted to dip my toe into affiliate marketing. Didn't think too much. The website, I wanted it to go this way, but it's actually ended up going this way. And we didn't have that research that led to that structure. And yeah, we'll manage the migration properly, but I'm probably going to lose a good wee chunk of money on that for a couple of months, and that could have been avoided from, as you say, sort of laying those good foundations.
Yeah. So let's delve into those two pillars a little bit, Graham. So in terms of SEO content, when people hear content, it's quite a broad term. For anyone that's not familiar with SEO content, what type of content should you be building on your site in order to rank for more keywords? What are the key areas?
It would depend on what type of website you're working on. I mean, you as a business owner or a website owner, you'll know what your products and services are, but you need to sort of delve into here's your money keyword or your money page. This is what you want to rank for. But there's a lot of sort of surrounding topics that you're going to need to cover to get Google to actually register that you are a legit website in that space that Google can trust enough to send. I mean, you always got to think of Google as, Google is a lot dumber than people think, but at the same time, Google's customers are the people clicking on the SERPs. They want to look after that, those users, and you do need to do a lot of groundwork to get Google to actually trust you, whether that looks like topical coverage, or even just covering everything that is required on that page. So our content process looks a lot like we'll do the keyword research in Ahrefs, SEMrush. A good place if we've got it, I quite like actually just diving straight into Search Console and seeing, right, what can we pull in there. And there's also some sort of cannibalization works we can do. And yeah, we do tend to find a lot of really sort of good information in Search Console that Ahrefs doesn't give us. But when we're doing our sort of content research for a new website, we need to look at not just this sort of sole individual page. I've tripped myself up in the past with this by saying, right, one keyword, here's the page, we're going to create the page, and we're going to just build a F ton of links to that page. And what happens? It doesn't rank because it's just a little island sitting out in the middle of Google Ocean that Google just don't care about. So we need to get an idea of the entire the sort of entire topic that this belongs to. What parts of that overall topic are relevant to the client or the business, if it's one of my own sites, and what isn't, and what are we actually going to write? How are we going to structure both the site architecture, and then we actually look at a page level. What information do we need to include at a page level? Now, we used to spend hours pulling all the data in from SERPs, but we're so lucky in 2022. Just take your keyword research and fire it through Surfer SEO. It will literally tell you the entities that you want to be using. There's a wee bit more tactic than just fire it through Surfer SEO, but like that tool alone saves me probably, don't want to sound sensationalist, but it probably saves me like hundreds, if not thousands of hours just getting data from SERPs into content briefs. And yeah, our process is very sort of top heavy. When we onboard a new client, it's going to take us at least sort of a month, most cases 2 months, just to actually dive into that niche and propose what we think the structure for that website should be before we start pulling our research into tools like Surfer and getting actual people bums on chairs writing content. So going back to what my content process looks like, deep dive into the niche, break that down into individual subsections of that niche or silos, figuring out what keywords that we're getting from Search Console and Ahrefs, where they fit within that structure. And then that's when we actually come into writing content. When we're writing content, Surfer brief. We've then also got the account management thing around like tone of voice. If you were an animal, what brand would your animal be? All that. That sounds ridiculous, but literally we ask our clients stuff like that, and those probing questions get us, like, not that exact example, if your brand was an animal, what animal would it be? Yeah. But questions like that, probing questions, give us the sort of writing guidelines for that brand, and we'll then write the content, and we'll then put it to an editor. 9 out of 10 times our editor will come back and say that is over optimized, and I think that's something where a lot of SEOs trip themselves up at. Like tools like Surfer and that, they're great, but over optimization, it's a big thing. And we put it, so one of the editors that I've got in my team, she doesn't come from a heavy SEO background, and she just reads it like a human would and say, right, you've got buy leather money holder online UK in this sentence here. Like, guys, come on, you need to behave yourself here. That is not going to pass an editorial process. And then after that, we'll send it to the clients, and sometimes we get edits back, sometimes we don't. We'll manage the edits. So that's my content process. I'm sure there's other areas that I'm maybe glossing over there, but in a nutshell, that's what we do. Research, structure, Surfer, write, review, make sure it's fit for a human, send over to the client, or if it's our own site, we'll publish it. That research piece we put together, we call it a page plan. It's basically a Notion database that we have of every single page for a website. It pulls in stats from Surfer SEO, Search Console, Ahrefs, pulls that all into the one database. And yeah, that's more from a sort of project management point of view. But it's really, really good for seeing we have the structure set up, seeing we're doing something like cannibalization analysis, or sometimes a big thing we find is you'll maybe have one page that's ranking for a lot of things, but it's ranking for keywords across different intent. Now, there's a guy on LinkedIn, Daniel Foley Carter, who talks about this stuff, and I would definitely see he's probably an expert on this stuff. I'm maybe not so much an expert on this, but he talks about searcher intent quite a lot. And where we've seen like big needle movements is we'll maybe have one page that, yeah, it's ranking really well for a handful of keywords, but then it maybe has like 5 or 6 different handful of keywords that it's not ranking for. And 9 out of 10 times we put this down to the intent isn't there. And that's when we're going into Search Console and we're saying like, yeah, the informational keywords, they're ranking really, really well, but the money keywords aren't ranking, or more often than not, what we find is the money keywords are ranking all right and the informational keywords aren't ranking very well. Bring the informational keywords out into their own pages within the silo, build the content around them. And when I was running my tests on this, I just wanted to get the searches for the informational stuff and then try and push them down an on-page funnel and convert. But what we then started figuring out was, right, if we are getting traction from the informational stuff within that silo, it's actually pushing up the money keywords, and having that sort of big database of all the pages. Look, I probably go overkill on this stuff. For me, working client side, a big part of it is the project management and accountability. Look, if I go to a client and say, look, we've itemized every single page in your website, we are 100% on the ball. There's sort of commercial elements for me in there, out with the fact that when we're actually doing analysis, boom, it's right there, cool, move these keywords over to this, de-optimize these keywords here on that page because we're going to be optimizing them on this page. Okay, based on our intent analysis, we've got 6 or 7 buckets missing here, add them under that part of the structure. We've got a lot of faffing about to actually set that up, but see, once it's set up, it's really, 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 really powerful. And also, it leaves the door open for, right, we go in, we blast the content, and we move keywords from here to here to match intent better. And we then start to see the results of that. We then go back into Search Console, and the whole pruning process starts again. And that's what my process looks like. There's probably more efficient ways to do it. It's pretty effective. It gets the results. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with the way that me and the team are. Can I say that about myself? I'm really happy with the way I'm doing something.
That's all good.
Sounding arrogant, but yeah, I like to think we've hit the nail on the head with content, link building, guest posts easy to come by. We're doing a lot more work in Harrow now. I've actually got someone full time sitting there just vetting Harrow opportunities this week.
And just so the audience know what Harrow is, just delve in a little bit into what exactly that is.
Harrow is help a reporter out. It's powered by, I think it's actually powered by one of the old school sort of PR networks, Cision. I'm pretty sure they own like Garcana and stuff like that. Don't quote me on that. I could be spreading fake news here, but journalists will need a source, and they'll go to help a reporter out, and they'll ask, how you doing? Looking for information on XYZ. Can everyone, can anyone who knows about XYZ tell me a wee bit about XYZ. Like, let me jump into my email, because I'll probably have the afternoon edition here.
No worries.
But trainers to talk about the benefits of walking. The website's Bustle. I'm not going to read the full query out, but why do you think the silly little walk trend is so popular on TikTok? Someone who runs a, let's say you run a hiking store. You could pitch that and say, how you doing? I'm so-and-so, run a hiking store. We've done a lot of research on this because we do walking shoes. Here's why I think the silly little walk thing is taken off on TikTok, and send that over to them. One area our process is a wee bit broken in just now is, look, if we land a mention for that guy on a big magazine, we don't so much have to justify as a do follow, a no follow. For anyone who doesn't know, Google, generally speaking, tends to ignore links that are set to no follow, and there's some things I've read in places that Google does like no follow links from my own tests. I've seen links from places like Wikipedia, which big parts of that is human edited. I have seen it in some instances, no follow links there moving the needle, but generally speaking, there's a class of link that Google doesn't really care about, and then there's a class of link that Google does care about. A problem we have with Harrow is a lot of these links are no follow. We're trying to work into our process to get the do follow links. What that's looking like is axing our success rate or lowering our success rate on Harrow to guarantee that basically win more links, win less links, but every link we win is a do follow, and the risk there is that we piss off journalists, and we need to make a decision. And yeah, we're an SEO agency, but listen, see, when I go to one of my clients saying, how you doing? We've won you a link on Forbes this month. Trust me, they don't sit and look at that and go, Graham, I think you'll find this is actually a no follow link. We want you to replace that. Yeah, so that's one thing to look out for with Harrow. But
yeah, there's benefits outside, isn't it? There's benefits outside of just whether it's a do follow link. I mean, my take on it is, you know, if you can get a link, regardless if it's a no follow or do follow, get the link. It may not have the SEO juice that you want, but there's other benefits to it in terms of potentially PR, brand awareness.
Even the branding and user signals that you'll send, if you land a link on Forbes, like, you are going to be sending signals to Google, and even if Google's not picking up on that link, like, you are going to get a substantial number of people searching for your brand if it appears in Forbes. Like, sending those signals to Google, don't want to go into too much detail, may or may not move the needle for you, but it's definitely it's interesting. Stuff like that, like the more traditional PR, I've had a few examples where that has had a knock-on effect on not just brand searches but actual commercial unbranded searches. But then again, I've had examples where it's not really moved the needle. I'm always saying to people, don't take what other SEOs are telling you as gospel. You need to go out and test everything yourself, and sort of build your own picture of that. But for us, the guest posts are sort of bread and butter. They're predictable, easy to win, easy to pitch, easy to process up, and I've been reading that they do work, they don't work. Loads of people saying this and that. For me, for my business, for our clients, 2022 guest posts are still. I don't know about you, Charles, but guest posts are.
I exactly the same. I've had the exact same experience. We use guest blogs because, for our clients, they're the most predictable way to build links. And one thing that I've learned, Graham, about been doing SEO for many years now, and I don't know if you feel the same, but like what Google says ranks for your website versus the reality are often two different things. So I'm pretty sure I've heard Google say, "Oh yeah, guest blogs don't really work anymore. They don't have much value in terms of building links to your site." But the reality is they still do. Maybe if they're, syndicated guest blogs and you're posting them across the same content across multiple spammy websites, then maybe that is the case. But I think good quality, unique content on, high quality sites, in my experience, they work really well. So I think what you mentioned, going sort of summing this up, I think testing is key. You got to be able to test as an
100%.
SEO.
Just on what you're saying there with Google saying one thing and saying another, like literally exaggerating a wee bit here, but see when Google says one thing, like Matt, yours like tweak up, and I'm like, holy shit, they're saying this. I need to go and like test the opposite of that, because that's what they're actually like. 9 out of 10 times Google says something and it's like the complete opposite. That's true. I can't think of any examples off the top of my head typically, but yeah, I've had it time and time again in the past. Google saying, nope, this doesn't exist. Let's run our tests. Yes, this 100% is a thing. And yeah, you've always got to just test everything. Absolutely everything. 100%.
Yeah, I think that's what makes a good SEO. I think it's good to listen to, I always say, if you are learning SEO and you want to run a campaign yourself, maybe you pick 1 to 3 kind of top experts that you get a recommendation from. You listen to their stuff, but the most important thing is you actually execute on the strategies and tactics that they're saying work, because you might often find that with these kind of gurus out there, they're using, or they're offering advice that potentially could be outdated, because they're using tactics that work right now that they kind of don't want people to know about, because SEO, you're not in your own echo chamber. You're competing with other people, so you kind of don't want people to know the secret sauce that's working for you, because it means more competition, and then every SEO starts to do the same tactic. So
I know. Like whenever someone finds a wee thing, like a wee loophole, they pile in. Like if that is shared, it will just be absolutely abused by every single SEO until Google shuts it down. Like you need to go out and find your own wee sort of chinks in Google's armor. I mean, for your I wouldn't recommend for client stuff, but yeah, for your own like affiliate sites and that, like there's definitely a few sort of chinks in Google's armor, and the only way really to find that, there's some people that will share stuff with you, but yeah, test everything yourself. Like see some of the stuff that I've found that works in Google. Like some of it's so fucking excuse my language.
That's okay.
Some of it is literally like so stupid, so ridiculous, that if I started speaking about it, like I'd probably get like laughed at. But there are big gaping holes open to sort of manipulation go back a wee minute, I'd never recommend anyone manipulating anything on a client website. But some of the stuff I do for other websites, like there's loopholes there for you to find, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's transition then to your affiliate site, Graham. It's obviously something you're doing alongside your SEO agency. Really curious, kind of selfishly for myself as well, because I'm kind of building an affiliate site on the side, and I'm sure my audience would get some value here as well. Is your strategy for your affiliate site when it comes to SEO? I'd be curious to find out some more information about that and your approach to that, whether it's slightly different to your client campaigns, or you're testing any new tactics out. Speak to me about that. That would be great.
So the affiliate website, we just rank for like all these wee cities in Scotland, and then shove booking.com down their throats and get them to book holidays and stuff. I started that website out just to kind of test some of my own stuff out, and then it started to sort of take off a wee bit. My strategy for that, like the site, I've had problems with the agency started to take off just at the same time as that site started to take off. And you'll know yourself, like affiliate, longer term, more consistent, more hands-off revenue, but client work, really, really easy to scale up cash flow. So that the agency stuff started taking priority. I've got a writer starting in April who's just going to be managing that website full time. I was basically getting my content team. My guys will maybe finish all the client work about the 25th, 26th. So any overload, like any overcapacity we had, straight onto the affiliate site. Problem is, it's just been neglected. So the reason I'm telling that is it's probably something that it took me a long time to actually start treating my affiliate website as something that needs like not day-to-day serious management, but like there was maybe 2-3 month gaps where just nothing was done in that website. And it's a project that I'm sort of quite passionate about, and got big plans for the website. And I'm now moving like a sort of full-time resource onto that website, and it took a conversation with someone to actually slap me about a wee bit and say, Graham, why are you not? I remember they just asked me like, why are you not spending time on your affiliate projects? I'm like, I'm busy with the agency stuff. And it's like, well, long term, like the sort of the client stuff's good, you can scale it fast, but the affiliate stuff, like you own that website, and so that's really sort of key for me. And the strategy behind that site's really, as with a lot of the most successful sort of SEO campaigns I've worked with, it's really, really simple strategy. We rank for the informational, non-commercial keywords that nobody's really going after. Like, what commercial company wants to write an article about, I don't know, Inveraray, wee Scottish village, lovely, beautiful place, but there's no real commercial value for a company to rank number one for that. So it's really easy for me to just go in, write, like the competition I'm up against, like none of those guys are looking at entities or link building. It's all like sort of local tourist boards that are run the website. So we're just going in, writing the content. It's informational content. I'm then just doing a skyscraper outreach. It's not even me. It's one of my SEO executives has just got it almost on autopilot. Going in, we're just going and saying, right, this town, what ranks for it? Cool. Pull all these sites into BuzzStream. send them a customized template, and hey, we'll maybe send like 200 emails and get like 10 links, but the competition we're up against, like, that's enough to move the needle in that niche. And then we're going in with the super, super commercial stuff, like booking.com and all that. They're not building links to their informational page at a sort of micro niche, like geographical level. It's too small for these guys. But I can go in, undercut them at the sort of place level, and then that helps me when I'm actually ranking for some of the more commercial terms, because I'm building up a brand, like a person. I hate the term personal brand, but I'm building up a brand through actually building this website, running the socials and all that. I'm building that brand. It's me. It's my face. So when I'm outreaching to these people, it's sincere, it's genuine, and I'm getting the links that some intern at booking.com just isn't going to be able to earn. Now, don't get me wrong, booking.com as a competitor, hotels.co.uk, we're never going to be able to compete with them. Like, they're big businesses, but booking.com in Scotland, guarantee their focus is going to be Glasgow, Edinburgh, Inverness, and then maybe a few of the sort of holiday hotspots. They're not looking at all these it wouldn't be profitable for them, but for me, I can make that profitable and do it. So what am I doing there? Informational content, using that to support money pages, using informational content as link bait, also sort of traffic bait, not traffic bait, just normal pages that people land on and go to. But using these informational pages is really strong link magnets that also attract customers, and then using that to funnel people down to money pages.
So Greg, when just while you're on that, so just so my audience is clear, let's go to sort of SEO 101 kind of layman's terms. So we've talked a lot here during the interview about money pages, informational pages. Just to explain to my audience the difference between the two and kind of how you use the two in tandem to improve your SEO and generate more kind of affiliate income.
So money pages are pages that are going to generate you a serious amount of money. We also use the term money keywords. They're the keywords that, let's say you're in the plastic, or I think that's actually metal, but you're in the water bottle niche. A money keyword for an e-commerce website is going to be buy metal water bottle. That's going to be a money keyword. Money keywords for affiliate websites can be informational stuff. For my sites, it does tend to be where we are, unlike a lot of affiliates, we are looking to rank for the actual transactional keywords. So like Glasgow accommodation, we are trying to rank for that. But an informational keyword could be like best hotels in Glasgow. Now, the different types of keywords, you've got different intents. So someone searching for book hotel in Glasgow or last minute hotels Glasgow, they're not messing around. They're looking to book something then and there. You can pretty much guarantee that, 60% of those people are converting. But best hotels Glasgow, they're maybe sitting down I don't know, I'm maybe thinking about going to Glasgow. Let's see what hotels are out there. Maybe only about 5% of people are sort of searching for them. Money keywords are keywords that are going to convert. For me, I think you have a sort of scale of how much of a money keyword is, but that's a whole different kettle of fish there. Informational keywords are keywords that are less likely to convert. You're still going to get the traffic from them, but things like, let's go back to my water bottle example. This is such a stupid example. Apologies, I can't think of it
That's
on
all
my
good.
head. But
No, it's good. It's
how,
making it simple for the, for people to understand. So yeah, no, it's all good.
yeah, it's an example of an informational keyword could be how to fill a water bottle. Sorry, I don't have a better example than that, but informational keyword, it's telling you how to do something. It's giving you information. You're giving people information for free. You do tend to get higher volume, but less commercial intent. Commercial intent is how likely is this person to convert. Now, what a lot of people do is they just think money, 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 money keywords. What we're seeing is to rank for the money keywords, you need the informational keywords. And then on the flip side of that, for a sort of 360 SEO campaign, your e-commerce product page for buy water bottles, there's no way you can naturally get people to link to that. You can through guest posts, but there's no way that you can put in place a system that just scales, or there's no way I've been able to put a system that scales building links to money pages out with sort of guest posts. You can get it here and there, but it's really, really, really difficult. On the other hand, informational keywords or informational pages, you're giving something for free. It generally tends to be a useful piece of information. Very, 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 very hard to monetize. Not very hard to monetize. I mean, slap AdSense on that, you're good to go. You can also do things about pushing people from that information page maybe over to a sort of weak commercial page, and then from there into a sort of highly commercial page. But generally speaking, informational pages, they're guide content, they're out there to help people who are Googling. Because they tend to be non-sort of aggressively monetized pieces of content, informational pages are really, 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 and I cannot stress this enough, this changed it allowed me to get better results by using the information, not going straight to the commercial content, focusing first on a good foundation of informational content. Don't just think, oh, I've got to write my informational content to then be able to rank for the commercial content. Use that informational content as a weapon when you're outreaching. Use that. I mean, informational content, you can get visitors to your website with informational content. Say in that niche, there's 500 people searching for the money keywords, but from an informational point of view, there's maybe 5,000 people. If you can get 1% of those over onto a money page, that's 10% of like ranking number one for that really, really, really difficult keyword. Informational pages tend to be a lot easier. Not always, but most of the time, because they're not commercial, not a lot of people are going for them or try to rank for them. And yeah, you can get in there really, really easy at that level. So yeah, informational, take it back a wee step, informational pages and informational keywords are keywords that you're probably going to find it harder to monetize aggressively, but they make really, 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 really good sort of doorways to your website. They can be really good resources for bait and links. Money pages, they're the pages that you want people to go to and buy. Hope that sort of makes sense.
No, that summarizes things great, Graham. I think something that I always advise people do is, never really, like you said, you can't Google. You always want to build links that are deemed a bit more natural. You're never realistically, you could build links to say your money pages, but naturally, would you get a link from a money page that's just promoting a product? Probably not. You'd get a link from an information page. People are naturally going to want to link to that. So I always say build your links to your informational pages, and then from your informational page, then link to your money page, which then passes that authority down. So you've got, it's kind of that top of the funnel traffic. with your informational pages, which typically obviously are built on your blog. They don't necessarily need to be, but I think what you mentioned, about that kind of structure, probably works quite well. I don't know if you do something similar with how you kind of link the pages together, but that's kind of what we found to work the best.
Yeah, this is one of the problems with that website. Anyone that's watching, it's myvoyagescotland.com. The main problem we have is shamelessly plugging. Just in case. No,
it's good.
Wants
it's good. I think the thing with a lot of the SEO affiliate game is people are so scared to even mention what their affiliate site is out of fear of someone coming along and copying it. Reality is,
with that site, I mean, I've got other affiliate websites I'm a wee bit more protective about, but that site, I mean, I'm building like an actual, like my face is on the website, like Graham Grieve. Like I treat that like almost like a second business. People can go in and steal your niche. There's not that website. I mean, we're not doing anything special on that website. Anyone could come in and replicate what we're doing, but we've just put like a shit ton of hours into it, and I put a lot of work into it at the start, and I mean, we're now starting to get a wee bit of money, but if anyone wants to try and replicate that, I mean, you're welcome to do about 18 months of work and get nothing back from it.
Well,
and
exactly, yeah.
Eventually, like me right now, I would not be able to start that project and build it to the level that, I mean, it's not a huge level just now, but problem we're having with that website is we've not structured it. Like all the pages just sit at the sort of top level, and that's the thing. We're trying to pass the link juice through like sort of internal linking, but I've been seeing a lot of good success recently with like a strict silo, and that's what we are sort of looking to move into and actually build that into the URL structure. Ask me in 3 months' time if it was worth redirecting everything, and if the sort of attrition from that was worth everything, and yeah, it might be telling a different story. But we're doing it. We've committed to it. It's happening, and yeah, that's my next wee thing to stress about. I don't know why I was mentioning that. Oh yeah, with that, we then have silos that have money page, sub-silos, information page, and that all links up with each other. And that's a really, 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 really good way. Don't get me wrong, see our money pages, we're firing a couple of guest posts to it. I mean, who wouldn't? But within that sort of silo, we've got these informational pages. Like some of these campaigns we've run, like we've got like links on the homepage. I'm not going to tell you where we've got links from, but we've got some really, really good links from that, and like people's homepage, like leading to inner pages of this website, that then the sort of page next door to that is like a money page, and that is how long term I'm going to build up the domain rating, domain authority, and then maybe one day in Scotland, only Scotland, we'll maybe be able to give booking.com and other websites like that a run for their money in some of these less competitive cities. But yeah, that's what I'm doing with the affiliate stuff. I've obviously got all my other sites, but that's my main one.
Nice. And in terms of your content, then, did you go and like build out content all at once, and then start building links from there, or are you spreading out your content and building content on a consistent basis, on a monthly basis or a weekly basis? How have you structured that? Because there's kind of, I don't think there's one strategy is better than the other. It really depends, I think. But I'd be curious find out how you go about it? And is it more about just building a content hub as quickly as possible, or is it about drip feeding content out on a more regular basis?
So the two things here. Yeah, you want to get your content hub sorted from day one, but see, for a new website, when you're still in sandbox, if you believe that's a thing I do, when you're in those early days, you just want content going up on your website, aging, consistent. Google sitting thinking, oh, this website is producing consistently good content. Let's maybe bump it up a wee bit here or there. For me, my approach to content is, if I've paid for something, when I say paid, whether that's my time, me going in and writing it, we used to outsource a lot of the writing for that project. If I've paid for something, whether it be my time or my money, or I've hired someone in to do that, I want that piece of content up there and aged. For us to have complete sort of topical coverage of everything we want on that site, basically to the point where the content for that site, for the first phase of that site, is finished. We are 2.5 years into that site and we're just over the halfway line. For me, if we weren't pushing the content up there, this wouldn't be a project. I'm a big believer in, I hate all the agile terminology and all that, but I'm a big believer in sort of minimum, for my own projects, minimum viable project, get the bare minimum up there. As soon as you've got something up there, it's something you can build on. Whether you've just got one post on your website, cool, it's better than none, and it's something to build from. With affiliate websites, you'll know yourself, like the earnings on, I mean, unless I'm doing affiliate websites wrong, but the earnings on every affiliate website I've done, you're not going to make good money until you're maybe a year. And don't get me wrong, there's guys doing this at scale. They're probably getting good revenue coming through their site come like 3-4 months. But for me, all my affiliate projects, I mean, I think the quickest we've started to make like a semi-decent, maybe £300-400 a month off one site, about 9 months. I'm probably lying to you. Do you know that, Charles? It's probably about a year, 14 months. But yeah, I just want to get the content up there, get it aged, get Google coming back, seeing, right, every time you come back here, there's fresh content. In a perfect world, I'd be doing that consistently, but that project has been very, very, right, we've got 20 articles, let's push them. Okay, nothing for 2-3 months. Right, another couple of articles, again, quiet for a month. I've been busy. Now I'm looking to ramp up content production on that website and just get it finished. I've got a full-time writer, big financial commitment on that. Full-time writer just sitting out blasting these articles on an affiliate website. Back to your question. Textbook answer is yes, you'd probably be better off getting your content hub all sorted, working out, filling in every page in that structure. But in a real world, just get your content up there, man. Get it aged. Start making, even if you're only making like £1 a day off AdSense, like just get the content up there and start trying to monetize that as quickly as possible. That's my opinion on it. I'm probably wrong on that opinion, but that's how I took it anyway.
Nice. No, I think that's some good stuff there, Graham. Good stuff. Well, look, I think this has been really good in terms of delving into, your SEO processes and some strategies and tactics that you're deploying to help your clients and also grow your affiliate site. Just to wrap things up, Graham, where can people find you if they want to connect with you online?
LinkedIn's a good go-to place for me. Graham Grieve, I share case studies, some things that I'm testing out. My company Facebook feeds are pretty boring, and my personal Facebook is my personal Facebook. None of my work stuff goes on there. For me, LinkedIn's where it's at. I've got Twitter, but I've never really got into it too much. Anyone want to catch up with me, hit me up on LinkedIn. And always happy to chat to anyone about SEO and bounce any ideas off me. Yeah.
Great stuff. Great stuff.
Cheers, Charles. Thanks for having me on, man.